Imagine being in a courtroom, knowing that every word you utter, every step you take, might alter your life forever. That was where Kody Brown stood. A man who had established a life, a family, and a public persona, now teetering on the brink of losing it all. One heart-wrenching plea could seal his fate as to whether he retains his home, his wealth, and even his status as head of the household. The air was charged with tension as Kody addressed the court, shaking voice, pleading eyes, and the entire room hanging on his every word. Robyn sat paralyzed in shock, struggling to even understand the severity of what was transpiring before her. This wasn't merely a battle in court. It was a test of devotion, of strength, and of the very future of the Brown household. Social media went wild as fans watched in amazement, wondering what this moment would mean for their finances, their relationships, and their public image. Might one courthouse decision drive the Browns to bankruptcy? Can the family weather the storm? One thing is for sure, the stakes have never been higher, the drama never more dramatic, and the result could alter everything the Browns have worked so hard to establish. Stay with us to witness the stunning turn of events and the calamitous results that will ensue. Kody Brown entered the courtroom with his entire family's weight crushing him. Every eye in the room appeared to be watching him every step of the way, every hushed word carrying monumental weight. For Kody, this was more than a legal hearing. It was a battle for survival. His voice shook as he made a plea unlike any the Browns had ever known before, a desperate effort to hold on to everything he had worked for over the years. The judge absorbed every word, eyes locked onto Kody, calculating every sentence. Robyn, seated mere feet away, could barely process what she was hearing. Her own astonishment wasn't just at the plea, but at the truth it presented. Their family's future might be hanging in the balance of one decision. Outside the courtroom, onlookers and fans were shocked. Social media went into meltdown with theories, speculations, and shock. What had Kody done that could put his family in danger like this? What was he attempting to preserve? And what was he already losing? This was not simply about legal terms or financial documents. It was an emotional, raw fight, one to determine if Kody could lead, protect, and maintain the Browns united in the face of gathering adversity. Time was of the essence. Each word had the potential to make all the difference, and no one knew how this intense courtroom saga would play out. Kody Brown's courtroom appeal was more than a last-ditch effort to win over the judge. It was a battle to hang on to everything he had created for his family. For years, Kody has balanced multiple homes, kids, and the searing public attention that comes with being the Browns' patriarch. But in that courtroom, the very real possibility of losing it all became excruciatingly clear. Not only material possessions, properties, homes, investments were at stake, but the reputation of the Brown family too. Kody's voice shook as he pleaded with the judge for mercy, a blend of exposed vulnerability and resolve in every utterance. Robyn, who sat close to him, was clearly shocked, her face reflecting the gravity of the moment. Their family's fate rested in the balance. Financial advisors cautioned that the short-term effects could be dire. Several properties, long-term holdings, and even the family's liquid cash reserves may be in jeopardy based on what the court decides. For a family whose life is dependent on media attention and reality television to keep them in the style to which they have become accustomed, the stakes are far greater than the courtroom. A negative decision may not only jeopardize their finances, but also threaten the family's public reputation, a key element of their income and image. This was the first legal challenge to come on the heels of past financial obstacles. The Browns have weathered property issues, tax issues, and other problems throughout the years, typically finding a way to stay stable by plotting and staying in the spotlight. But this one is different. The pairing of legal pressure with public scrutiny creates a special tempest, one that might compel hard decisions, selling assets, restructuring finances, or even reconsidering the logistics of a multiple household family. The economic blowback isn't figures on a chart. It has emotional ramifications. Money and security have long been intertwined, and for a family as visible as the Browns, the stakes are higher. Kody's appeal wasn't merely protecting holdings, it was maintaining the family unit, keeping spirits up, and avoiding fear and uncertainty from destroying their bonds. Robyn's expression of shock contained the human anxiety of seeing one's life potentially disintegrate before one's eyes. In addition to the financial risks, there is the less tangible one, the family brand. The Browns are celebrities, and their reality TV exposure has been built on the image of stability, togetherness, and prosperity. Any hint of fragility, particularly an open court battle, can influence how networks, advertisers, and viewers view them. One decision can alter not just the family's wealth, but their sway, prospects, and legacy. Kody's battle was thus two-pronged: defend the family's fortune and defend their narrative. Each sentence in court was a tightrope, a delicate effort to express sincerity, urgency, and leadership in extremis. He wasn't merely defending assets. He was defending the story that the Browns have spent years crafting, the story that millions of fans have come to read and believe. Experts studying the case make varied projections. Some indicate that Kody's plea can be a temporizing device, giving the family time to negotiate, reorganize, or cut their losses. Others warn that even a successful resolution can fail to shield them from long-term financial realignment. The day-to-day costs of maintaining a family of their scale, multiple households, and the regular expenses of education and medicine create a pressure cooker environment where even minor setbacks can snowball rapidly. The courtroom melodrama also amplified conflict online. The fans, commentators, and viewers analyzed Kody's plea, making guesses about the consequences. Questions regarding the family's money future, inner workings, and Kody's leadership spread quickly. This public examination ratcheted up the stakes. Every response, every headline, put more pressure on a situation already full of emotion and gravity. Ultimately, Kody's plea proves more than financial danger. It shows the vulnerability of stability, faith, and reputation. A single courtroom ruling could redefine the Browns' lives, putting both their finances and family relationships to the test. While the world waits, the question lingers: is Kody's desperate plea the only hope for the family to escape financial and emotional ruin? Or is this the start of a new era of uncertainty for the Browns? The courtroom saga wasn't just threatening Kody Brown's pocketbook. It shook the entire Brown family to its core. With a family as big and close-knit as theirs, anxiety and uncertainty have a tendency to magnify underlying tensions. Robyn's dazed response in the courtroom was only the starting point. In private, the wives and children were left wrestling with fear, bewilderment, and the unknowns of what the future had in store. Family dynamics in the Browns have always been complicated. More than one household, several children, and public eyes create a situation where pressure can turn little disagreements into huge battles. This court fight amplified those pressures, causing the family to answer hard questions regarding loyalty, leadership, and survival. Some members might feel vulnerable, doubting if their security and needs are defended completely. Some may doubt Kody's choices or leadership, inflicting strain on already strained relations. Emotional fallout is an inevitable byproduct of such high-stakes stress. Anxiety, fear, and frustration spread through a family like the Browns, where all members are impacted by both the legal and financial uncertainty. Kids can feel the tension, wives can wrestle with trust and decision-making, and Kody himself bears the burden of responsibility for them all. The public nature of the situation only intensifies these emotions, turning private worries into a spectacle for millions of viewers to scrutinize. Robyn's audible shock is an expression of a universal principle. Even the people closest to Kody might be left wondering what happens next. Trust, communication, and cohesion are put to the test, as the family confronts possible financial destitution and public humiliation. Anger that has long been simmering just below the surface could boil over, risking creating divides or confrontational moments between family members. Meanwhile, the public image of the family, their brand, is subjected to unprecedented scrutiny. The Browns have established a reality TV family persona as united, tough, and bigger than life. A courtroom battle, and particularly one that presents vulnerability or possible financial woes, risks changing the way the public perceives them. Fans who previously envied their stability, might now wonder if they can keep the family intact. Networks and advertisers might reconsider sponsorship if the family's narrative appears shaky or contentious. This two-pronged pressure, internal family stress and outside public opinion, gives rise to a special dilemma. Kody's leadership, already made more difficult by the desires and viewpoints of several wives, is pushed further. How does one assert authority while being compassionate as well, and holding family together? How does a patriarch balance emotional stress at home with public criticism abroad? These are challenges the Browns need to deal with in real time, and solutions are by no means easy. Others advise that legal and financial crises such as this one tend to either break or make families, all depending on how well communication, leadership, and emotional strength are handled. In the Browns' situation, there are added stakes in the spotlight. Every move, every choice, and every reaction to being seen in public is watched by fans, detractors, and the media. This brings with it additional pressure to keep up appearances while dealing with very real stress and uncertainty behind the scenes. The emotional cost is not merely stress. It impacts decision-making. Anxiety and fear can affect the way that the family handles settlements, defends assets, or talks to each other. Miscommunication can create misunderstandings, resentment, or even very public disagreements, all of which can further erode the family brand. Preserving harmony in the midst of financial uncertainty is a tricky balancing act, one that demands trust, planning, and emotional intelligence. Looking ahead, the Browns must also take into account the long-term effect on their public image. The family has been depending on TV exposure to supplement their income and stay relevant culturally. Perceptions of instability or turmoil can affect future opportunities. Will fans accept a family in financial and emotional distress? Will the network still view them as a trusted source of entertainment? Or will the story change in ways that will damage both the family's earnings and reputation? In the end, the Browns are dealing with a perfect storm: court cases, possible financial repercussions, and in-house emotional issues, all under the severe glare of millions of spectators. Kody's appeal in court was merely the start. How the family reacts to this moment, how they speak to one another, and how they deal with both money and emotion will decide not just their near-term fate, but the viability of their brand and public opinion as well. One thing is certain: the Browns' tale is far from finished. The courtroom drama opened the curtain, but the public and emotional repercussions are yet to fully unfold. Every decision they make over the next few weeks and months will have consequences, possibly transforming family dynamics, financial well-being, and the public image they leave behind. For the audience, the tale is compelling. For the Browns, it is life-changing. And as the saga unfolds, the burning question is: can Kody and his family ride out this tempest? Or are they on the edge of a change that will reshape their world forever? Undefined, the courtroom drama might have concluded, at least for the moment, but the implications of Kody Brown's plea for help are by no means exhausted. With the family's finances, relationships, and public image all on the line, each choice made in the next few weeks and months will have tremendous consequences. What transpires next could reshape the future of the Browns as a family and as a franchise. There are some options legally. Kody might have gained a short-term respite, but the court ruling could be appealed, renegotiated, or challenged in various manners. Each has risks and implications that extend not just to the assets of the family, but even to their perception of stability. The ambiguity is sufficient to generate tension even for most devoted family members. Will Kody fight every legal battle to defend what he's established, or will he concede to the court and attempt to regroup? The stakes are high, and the answers are anything but clear. Financially, the Browns have a perilous path ahead. If assets are lost or limited, the family will have to make tough choices regarding how to sustain their homes and lifestyles. Some assets can be sold, investments rearranged, or expenses reduced. For a household with several residences, dozens of children, and continued public responsibilities, the ripple effects could be spectacular. Even modest financial changes cause tension, triggering discussions about priorities and responsibilities that no family wishes to have in the public eye. Within, the family dynamics are still precarious. The stress of the legal and financial challenges has already heightened existing tensions. Some family members may feel uncertain about Kody's leadership or the security of their own futures within the family. Others may struggle with trust, communication, or emotional strain. Navigating these pressures will require patience, empathy, and unity, qualities that are being tested more than ever. The Browns will need to manage the needs of each wife and child, keep the lines of communication open, and feel connected as a family despite the tempest that besets them. Outside of their circle, the public and media will be watching every step. Social media gossip, fan response, and media discussion can make what are private choices into public spectacles. Sponsors and networks will be closely following, assessing how the reputation of the family might change after this dramatic legal experience. Each front page headline, each response, and each public outing now bears additional weight. How the Browns are perceived by the public might make or break their brand. Emotionally, the journey is no less difficult. Uncertainty generates anxiety, fear, and stress, and the Browns are no exception. Kody has to bear the burden of responsibility for the entire family, and the emotional burden is too much. For the wives and children, the state of financial and legal uncertainty produces a terrain of worry and speculation. Dealing with these feelings while staying united is a fine balancing act, one which will set the tone for the family's strength in the months ahead. There is potential for growth and renewal, regardless of the difficulties. Families that experience crises and survive them stronger, more openly communicating, with clearer roles and a new sense of purpose. The Browns' future is unclear, but the decisions they make today, how they communicate, how they allocate resources, and how they care for each other, will affect their course for years to come. Kody's desperation, though understandable, can be a catalyst for reflection and planning that will ultimately make the family stronger. For audiences, the tale persists and fascinating because it is equally about human strength as it is about financial and legal intrigue. The Browns' plight serves as a reminder that even those families who seem larger than life are susceptible to the stresses of everyday issues. Each move they make, each response, and each progress forward will be under scrutiny, providing some sense of suspense and expectation. Ultimately, one thing is certain: the Browns' story is far from finished. The courtroom was a fleeting moment, but its impact runs through every part of their lives. Financial insecurity, family conflict, and public judgment will all continue to color their narrative. Through the coming days, weeks, and months as the Browns make their way, one question hangs precariously larger than all the rest. Will the Browns be able to ride out this storm and come back stronger, or will the stresses of money, law, and emotion drive them to breaking? Only time will tell, and for the millions of viewers, the next installment will prove to be every bit as dramatic, emotional, and unexpected as the previous one. When the courtroom doors closed, and the instant drama started to cool down, questions started swirling about what the long-term future holds for Kody Brown and his family. Aside from the immediate financial and emotional impact, there are more profound, long-term implications that may alter the Browns' family dynamics, public image, and even their legacy. One of the biggest worries is the possible change in family roles and leadership. Kody has always been the focal point, the decider and the mediator who handles both family and public responsibilities. But this court battle has revealed weakness. Can his power be challenged by wives or children who believe the family is in jeopardy? Will family members start to make independent decisions, perhaps breaking the cohesion that has held the Browns together for so long? These are matters no family wants to face, but in the midst of uncertainty, they cannot be avoided. Monetarily, the stakes are high. Even if the family does not go into immediate bankruptcy, the implications of court rulings can reverberate for years. Some of their assets may be sold off, investments reorganized, or earning streams diminished. The Browns' use of media attention as a main source of income means that public opinion can translate directly into dollars, either profits or losses. If viewers feel insecure, if sponsors or networks feel threatened, the family may be faced with problems that extend far beyond a single courtroom decision. Emotionally, too, the stakes are high. Communication, unity, and trust are all strained in a crisis situation. Stress and anxiety can put a heavy strain on relationships, causing misunderstandings, conflict, or resentment that can last for years. The Browns need to steer through these issues very carefully, matching emotional demands with reality. How every family member reacts to the situation may be the deciding factor for the whole household, determining cohesion and stability. From a public standpoint, this courtroom drama already changed the story about the Browns. Fans and critics are following intently, analyzing each detail, and guessing at the family's next step. Social media, tabloids, and fan sites exaggerate every response, creating more pressure on the family. Under these conditions, even minor mistakes can have huge repercussions for the family brand. Having a good public image while dealing with internal issues is an arduous undertaking that must be approached by strategic thoughts and cautious communication. There's the legacy issue, as well. The Browns have invested years in establishing a story as an unusual, determined, and slightly larger-than-life family. A single misstep or crisis mishandled could ruin that legacy, or successfully overcoming the issues could solidify it. How the family handles financial and emotional stress now will probably determine how they are remembered by fans, the media, and the general public. Speculation about possible outcomes is inevitable. Some analysts foresee the family possibly having to downsize, restructure, or make difficult budget decisions in order to stay stable. Others propose that this crisis has the potential to trigger more fortitude in family relationships if it is addressed through unity, openness, and communication. Either scenario, the Browns are at a juncture, a time when choices made in the short term will echo for years to come. For Kody, on a personal level, the stakes are especially high. His public image, decision-making, and leadership are being tested. This is a challenge for him to secure not only the family's finances, but also its emotional and social fabric. Can he rule without driving off family members? Can he make strategic decisions that safeguard both the household and the family name? These questions define the path forward and will shape the Browns' story for the foreseeable future. In the end, the Browns' narrative is one of strength and adversity. All families have problems, but few have them in front of the gaze of millions of television watchers, and with a multi-stranded web of relationships, fiscal burdens, and public opinion. The Browns' success at negotiating all these pressures, legal, financial, emotional, and public, will determine not just their short-term survival, but the long-term story of who they are as a family. As viewers watch, the uncertainty rages on, firing up discussion, speculation, and anticipation. Will Kody and his family find strength, unity, and financial security? Or will law enforcement pressures, money, and emotional turmoil split the Browns apart and forever alter them? One thing is sure, the next installment of this family's saga holds drama, emotion, and consequences that will reverberate long after the courtroom. And as the world observes, the Browns are compelled to face the ultimate question: will they ride out the storm, or is a new reality on the verge of rewriting all that they have struggled to create? As the courtroom doors close and the dust settles, one thing is certain: the Browns saga has a long way to go. Kody's desperate appeal might have gained some time, but the costs of this court fight, financial, emotional, and public, will be felt by the family for months, potentially even years. The stakes are greater than ever before, challenging not only the family's fortune, but also their cohesion, trust, and resolve. Robyn's odd response encapsulated the gravity of the situation, a reminder that even the most solid of families can bear the tension when everything they have worked for hangs in the balance. For Kody, it was not just a legal battle, it was a leadership test, a challenge to safeguard his family, and a fight to preserve the reputation the Browns have taken years to build. The future is unclear. Will the Browns bounce back, rebuild, and be more resilient? Or will the stresses of money, law, and emotion force cracks in their relationships and brand? Only time will tell. One thing is for sure: this family has been through unbelievable struggles beforehand, and their saga still fascinates millions of viewers worldwide. Whatever becomes of them, the Browns saga reminds us that beyond the headlines, above the courtroom intrigue, and beneath the harsh glare of public scrutiny is a family struggling to survive, remain intact, and save all that they hold precious. Stay tuned, folks, because the Browns' next chapter is only just starting, and the drama is far from finished.